Okie doke. So, hi everybody. This is Carrie, and this is Beyond the Accent. Long time no talk. I'm talking to Léa, one of the co-founders of Coucou, my favorite school of all time, and also a super cool platform that I'm going to tell you everything about called 6 p.m. in Paris. And full disclosure, I was actually once her student. All right. When she was just starting out, I think that was like a gazillion years ago, right?
I was wondering, like, I forgot when you actually started.
I don't recall myself, but that was years and years ago. So when did you start? So that was when? What year? When did you found Coucou?
So that was 13 years ago now.
I just moved. So yeah, I think it was 2015 for me.
Something like that. That was definitely when we're still in Williamsburg.
There we are.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah. So, and I was in Soho, but I did do a couple sessions in Williamsburg as well. It was a lot of fun. And, well, here's the thing. So I've been quietly and not so quietly admiring Léa's work ever since. Okay. So I've been a fan, as a professional, as a learner, as a teacher, all of it, because she has like a rare way of approaching teaching and learning. And, it feels very human and low pressure is what I think of it as, and genuinely connective. I think that is the word. Léa, hi. What's up?
Hi.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Salut, the whole thing.
Coucou.
Coucou, that's the one. So, you're at work right now, right?
Yes.
One of Coucou's buildings, right? Well, tell me a little bit about yourself and about Coucou. So it started 13 years ago, the whole shebang. So how did it all come about?
That's a long story. So obviously I'm from France, and I moved to New York in 2008. Came here like on a vacation, and I absolutely fell in love with New York. And I didn't really speak English at the time, and we can talk more about that. And I thought, I absolutely like love this city, and obviously I need to learn English and like be better. So I thought, I would like stay a few months, learn English, and go back to France and go on with my life. But that part never happened because obviously 18 years later, I am still here. I never went back to France.
Right.
And
Thankfully.
made the life here.
All right. And so 2008, and then we got 2013. So 5 years later, you ended up starting a school. That is quite impressive for someone who didn't speak a lot of English at the time. So, what? How'd that happen? So yeah.
As part of someone living in the US, I was taking classes at an ESL school, like English as a second language. And one day, one of my teacher asked me if I could help her daughter. Yes, our daughter who was taking French classes at school, and she was in middle school. And I had never taught French in my life, but I was always looking for side gigs and opportunities. And I thought, that could be fun. Let's see if I can help her with her homework and whatever she's learning and going through. So I said yes, and I started doing that, and it was a complete revelation for me. I absolutely loved the experience. And at the time, I was working small jobs, in restaurants and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I could see myself doing this more. So I went on Craigslist, which was what people did at the time.
I know, and, crazy, right? I mean, it seems so odd today.
That was the source of little odd jobs and other opportunities. And I looked for people who were trying to learn French or were looking for a French teacher. And I actually stumbled upon an ad from this American guy who wanted to start a French school and was looking for a French person to kind of help him with this project. And so I replied to the ad and we met. Things worked out pretty good and we like got along well. And at the time it was called Sam Teaches French, and Sam is the name of the guy. And we started out of his apartment that was very informal, and I mostly like helped designing the curriculum, and I was the first teacher and main teacher at the school. And that's really how I got like my chops. That's how you say that. Like in teaching, it was a wonderful experience because obviously I learned a lot, not just in terms of like teaching French, but also like seeing from very close how to start a small business. And the thing got successful pretty quickly. He was interested in expanding the number of languages that were taught in the school. So what started as a French school quickly became a multilingual school. I think at some point we had like 14 languages.
Oh, good
or
Lord.
something
That is
like
a
that.
lot. That's ambitious. All right.
Yes. And the thing that came with that is a complete, in my opinion, disconnect with the culture of the language being taught. And something that originally felt like a little like hangout in an apartment became something very sterile, very academic, and very, sorry for the lack of better word, but kind of soulless. We moved into that like giant space where like everything was just like white walls and like
a hospital.
like folding chairs, no decoration, no feeling, no atmosphere. And that's when I started like getting a little frustrated and thinking that that's not how I want to teach. There was a whole atmosphere thing that I felt at the time wasn't actually conducive to learning. And that paired with what I think was wrong in the industry, hyper focus on performance. That's something that like obviously, as you know, has been a big part of what I've been trying to change in the language learning landscape.
Yeah.
But yes, everyone felt obsessed with performance, with like not making mistakes, with passing tests, leveling up. It was very transactional. You like study, you perform, you get validated, but it didn't feel alive. And that's when I thought there's something wrong, because why do people learn languages? It's not to like pass a test or like being able to write French being spoken on your resume. I mean, that's nice, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is human connections.
100%.
That's, at the end of the day, that's what languages are meant for, is to communicate with other people, also understand them, because as we know, like a language is a reflection on how people live, how people think, their history, all of that. And I always felt like you couldn't separate language from culture. Like, it's not like it's two separate things that you can study or like do separately. And one is a reflection of the other. And so that's kind of like started my my desire to do something different and to start my own little project, which really at the time, the ambition was to just have my own little space, my own little school where I wanted people to feel like they were coming to my place, not that they were coming to a school. And that's why like the design of it all and like laid back aspect came from. It was to really set the tone for like a different atmosphere that would allow people to not feel the pressure, not feel like it's school, it's a test, but something that is a lot more organic, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Right. That's the word I myself resort to a lot, organic versus, academic, sort of hospital-like. I like how you said there
Yeah.
were white walls everywhere, lacking in decorations, right? So, yeah, that definitely speaks to me. So then what do you think, I like the metaphor, one that I think of a lot when it comes to the academic sort of approach to things is people approach language learning as if it were the process of assembling a piece of furniture.
Yes.
Like we're at an IKEA. I got this piece of wood. I got this little thingy that I got to put in there, and it takes me this amount of time, and I get a product, and then I look at it, or it serves some kind of purpose, and it's a soulless process, right?
It's
And
exactly that. It's like something that has always surprised me is a number of students I've had through the years, or people who would like call the school and ask questions. And one recurring question is, how long is it going to take me to
oh
learn?
yeah, yeah, that's the one. That's the
And this
go-to.
question always stumped me because, like you just described, people have this perception of language being like almost like a skill to acquire, or like a checklist of things to do, and that there is an end to the process. It couldn't be like further from the truth. We're like, even as native speakers, we are still learning our own language every day. We're still modifying
100%.
it. It's a living, breathing thing. And if from the get-go you have that approach of performance and like accumulation of knowledge, and then, okay, I can like be like, okay, French done. I've done that. I speak French, moving on. Well, first of all, that reality doesn't exist. And you'll also fail at it, because then that's when like frustration really start building up. And that's the biggest reason. And the number one reason why people quote unquote fail at learning a language. Because once again, it's not something that you pass or something that you fail, but I would say that's the reason why people give up or stop. And that's the number one thing that you should not do, is stop. It's something that when you start, like there's definitely a start to your journey. One day you have to decide, okay, I'm curious about this language, or I always loved French culture, or like I want to travel, whatever the reason is that gets you started.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that like there's no end to the process. It's
Yeah.
something that's becoming a lifestyle. You incorporate it into your life, and it's going to be part of your identity at some point, and you'll have to continue your relationship with the language. And I call it a relationship because that's really what it is. And it's not going to be something that is constant in intensity. It's going to ebb and flow. Like when I say that you need to learn the language your whole life, it doesn't mean that I expect people to like be in a classroom actively learning every single week of their lives. But it means listening to French music, watching shows, traveling, going to a French restaurant, learning about wine, learning about the history. And all of that is a way to incorporate language into your life. But it's something that unfortunately a lot of people don't realize. And also there's this like misconception that it's something that it's a skill that you will keep. But it's a muscle. And like everything in life, you can and you will lose it and forget it if you don't practice, if you don't interact with it.
Right.
It's very much like, I mean, we always do that analogy, but like it's extremely real and accurate. It's exactly like the gym.
Going to the gym, right?
Yeah, like if you want like a six pack, you can go to the gym every day for a year and be very intense at it, and great, you will get your six pack. But if you like completely stop working out for the next 10 years, I can guarantee you that that six pack will be gone. And it's exactly the same thing with languages. Like if you go at it like super strong with like high intensity, and like you will get there. Like there's no barrier to that. You will accumulate a lot of knowledge. You will be able to speak and do stuff. But then if you don't maintain it, it will go away.
So then my question is, where do you think this misconception, like, what is it that generates that? Where's that thing coming from? Is it like, what's the cause of it? The cause effect sort of thing? I haven't been able to follow it. Like, is it the industry that's generating it? Is it sort of,
Yes.
where is it coming from? Is it the students? Is it the teachers? Is it the marketing? Is it what the heck is this? And what do we do about this? And,
No, it's a good question and one that I like. I'm actually very mad at a lot of competitors.
yeah, me too.
They're playing on this idea because it makes people feel safe and it makes people feel like reassured. Like not seeing the end of something feels daunting. And it's kind of a combination of things because it's a two-part problem. If you see language learning as a task, a chore, obviously you don't want a chore to last forever. You want it to be done. It's like, if you're going to clean your apartment, you don't want to imagine, although it's actually something you need to do like every week, but like, you know what I mean? Like you feel satisfied with the completion of something.
Correct.
And people feel that reward of, I've started something, I've finished something, that thing is done. And there's something, reassuring about putting a timeline on what feels like a chore. And that's why I say it's a two-part problem, because it should not feel and it shouldn't be approached as a task, as a chore with measurement, with test and everything like that, because then you will want it to end. But if you just make it a joyful part of your life, one that is about curiosity and learning and not about results, you don't want it to end because it's fun and because you're growing as a human being and like you're opening up your world and you're meeting new people. And like, if you approach it like that, then the timeline it's not part of the equation. So yes, I would say it's two things. It's definitely the industry that wants to sell something that feels safe to people. And like, I mean, I see it all the time. I see like ads from competitors, like learn French in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
C2. So mad.
A1
It's like
C2 in 3 days.
Exactly. Like, I mean, like, it's like going up and up. It used to be like, like in 6 months. Now it's like, in 2 days, you'll be able
what
to
the heck is
French.
that? Right. I mean, it's just dwindling. You guys, what? Right?
I mean,
insane.
There is a big secret that I'm not aware of, but like there is a way, but like I would like to meet that person that learned French in 3 weeks or any other language that quick, because I've been doing this for 13 years and I haven't met that person yet.
I love that. And you've mentioned the concept of identity. What is it that, if you were to explain it in simple terms to somebody who's not part of the language industry, the linguistics industry, the language teaching industry, what is identity to you? So it's like, it's a lot of things all at once, right? So,
I mean, it's probably a question I'm still like asking myself because as you age, and I think it's a wonderful thing, your identity changes and shifts. And I feel like as adults, we often are trapped in a fixed identity. And when you grow up, like when you're a child or a teenager, you have the freedom to become who you want to be, to test things. Maybe like 1 year you'll be like, I don't know, a goth at school, and like the next year you can be like a girly girl or like whatever you want to be, and people are like accepting that as part of like growing up. And for some reason there is a time in your life, you have your career, you have your like family, you have the place you live, and everything feels so closed off and so it's like frozen. And I feel like languages allow you to explore a new identity because you can kind of become someone else when you speak a different language. And it's aspirational, but it's also like opening up your mind to a new way of thinking, a new way of living. Once again, if you're taking that approach of like just learning language and seeing it as vocab and grammar,
Right.
you won't have that experience. And
Right.
I'm not saying it's not important. I'm a big like grammar nerd, and like
Same.
you
Yeah.
have to learn it, and you should enjoy learning it because it's fascinating. It's like
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful, but it's not the end of it. It's kind of the beginning of it. The next phase is finding your identity in that new language. I mean, I know that it's a shift that happened to me when I started feeling more comfortable speaking English. For instance, like I have a few examples of that. People often say that they're a different person, a different version of themselves,
Totally.
I should say, when they speak a different language. And that's because language allows you to do that. When you start studying like how they work, it's fascinating to see how clear it becomes. Because, for example, French people, and I'm going to make generalization.
It's okay.
Let's be clear. It's a lot more nuanced than that. We're like wonderful, like people with
little
like different
disclaimer, that is
personalities,
all right.
different like ways of being. But like there is a general sense that like French people are kind of like blasé, a little like, you know, too cool for school and not super direct as people. And not very, we don't give compliments easily, and we don't share emotions as easily as I would say, for example, Americans. When you start really analyzing how the language works, you notice that in French, we use a lot of negative constructions to express things. For example, instead of saying that something is great, is awesome, a more natural French way would be to say, oh, c'est pas mal.
Pas mal.
And c'est pas mal literally means it's not bad. But in the mouth of the French person, it's a great compliment. Like basically if a French person tells you something, oh, c'est pas mal, it means it's great. But saying directly it's great, like c'est super, c'est génial, feels almost like too revealing, too vulnerable to us. Like we need to put that distance of like, you know, like c'est pas mal. Or like you like go to the restaurant and you try something that is delicious.
Yeah.
Trust me, you will rarely hear people say c'est délicieux. You will hear, oh, c'est pas dégueu. And c'est pas dégueu means literally like it's not disgusting. And that's how we say it tastes great. We don't say it tastes great. We say
subtleties.
It's not disgusting.
That. So, okay, so a very understatement-y culture. All right, so like
yeah, and when you live in your like own native language, you don't think about it. It's just, you know. But when you start teaching, you're like, wait a second, why do we say everything like with a negative construction, basically saying what it's not instead of saying what it is? Oh, it's actually a reflection of like how we think and how like sharing your enthusiasm is not something that is easy for French people. Another example of that is how Americans easily say, I love you to people. They say it obviously to their like partner, to their family, but also kind of like to anyone around, like people they've
just met
like,
you. Oh, I love you.
Night, exactly. Like, oh my God, you're the best. I love you.
To me, man.
To French person, this sounds insane. You say I love you like maybe 5 times in your life. I'm exaggerating to make a point, but like you say it to your like the love of your life, to your husband, your wife, your partner, to your children, and even to your children or like to your partner. It's not like something you say every day. It's not that you end a phone call saying like, okay, bye, love you.
You don't do that.
No, je t'aime feels like, oh my God, it's such a thing to say to someone.
It's like, what happened?
Exactly.
What's going on? Where are you?
Are you going to die? Like, if you tell me that, like, I'm thinking,
safe?
like, exactly, like, what's going on? And so in English, I'm a lot more able to be bold with my feelings and to express them. Whereas in French, I'm a little bit more like sarcastic, a little bit more like laid back. And I love that I can be those two people at once and that I can modulate because I have like those kind of like two versions of myself. obviously it goes hand in hand with like the culture around me and like living in two different spaces, places, and like environments. When I'm in New York, I feel like a free person. When I'm in France, I feel more like grounded in the culture, but I also feel more like the rules around me feel stronger. So, that's, I guess, what I meant when I said that it's about finding a new identity. As adults, it's more and more difficult, I think, to find a space with like-minded people, because obviously what everyone has in common when they come to French class is that they all want to learn French and they all love French. They might come for a different reason once again, but they all have that in common. So you already have that like commonality that ties you to other people. But then it's a safe space, or at least it should be a safe space, because it's completely disconnected from other parts of your life. It's not work. You're not interacting with colleagues. It's not family. It's not your friends. It's not your neighbors. It's kind of in a way complete strangers with whom you already have that like common things, and where you can be free and be who you are, or like explore more of who you are.
Right.
Because they don't know you from like work. They don't know you from social interactions outside. So it gives you that platform and that opportunity to explore and kind of reinvent yourself and be who you want to be instead of be who other people think you are.
I
If
love
that makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
Kind of like French Anonymous, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a Frenchaholic, right? So, hi.
I mean, there's a little bit of that. Like, I'm not
Welcome in.
denying.
But I love that.
Yeah. A lot of like French class, and I say French, it's probably true with every language you're learning, but like there's a little bit of therapy going on.
Definitely.
In
Oh,
the best way
100%.
possible. It's
I think
like,
there's always a
yeah,
therapeutic element. I mean, if there's none of that, then I think there's something missing. And
yeah,
I this is where I want to where I want to talk about the anxiety, right?
yeah.
So how there's the performance anxiety that we all have when we walk into the language learning process. How did it sort of occur to you that that needs to be tackled? That needs to be paid attention to. It needs to be there as part of the educational process, because some people are just like, no, that's not up to me. That's not my job. As far as I'm concerned, that kind of is like part
Oh,
of your job.
100%. I would say it's the biggest part of your job as a teacher. I have so much to say about this. One thing that also was very surprising when I started teaching is seeing like adults that are confident in their life, that are like accomplished people, crumble, even cry in class because they made one mistake, because like they felt shy or vulnerable. And it can't be a place, or it can be a thing that makes you feel that way. And I think there's a lot, once again, it's kind of like circling back to that idea of like academia or like task and performance versus lifestyle. But if you put pressure on yourself, and if you're like in a context that basically resembles what for a lot of people could be the worst years of your lives, high school, middle school, that brings back that version of you that was scared because they didn't do their homework, or because the teacher was going to embarrass them in front of the class. Were like comparing themselves to other people in the class, and like there was a ranking that basically makes people feel bad about themselves. And that was a big thing that needed to be removed, is that idea that you have to have that anxiety, or that you should be anxious and perform. That's when people shut down, and that's when you stop learning and you feel just like you need to just give the right answer for the sake of giving the right answer. But that's not what we want to happen. I have a specific example of that, and it's hard to like make people understand that, change their minds about that. Even if they want to, there is almost like that instinct that like part of them takes over when they're in a classroom. In our in our Coucou curriculum that we created, at the end of each lesson, it's kind of like a recurring theme in the whole method. There is a part that's called Mon histoire, my story. And basically it's a prompt for students to reuse the theme of the lesson, the topic of the day, and making it their own and use it to share things about themselves. So for example, like, let's say the topic of the class was passé composé. The mon histoire would be like, oh, tell the class an anecdote of like something that happened to you where like, I don't know, you were like scared or surprised. And the idea of the activity is that people can prepare at home, because it's always good to have like talking points, like think about, okay, what story am I going to say? If I need to like look up some vocab words, I feel more prepared. But it's supposed to be oral exercise, like not something that you read from your notes, something that you come to class and you share informally with other people. And like 8 students out of 10 can't do that or refuse to do it and like are holding on to the textbook where they like spend a lot of time taking notes, probably with Google Translate, and like a lot of things that I can tell they looked up and don't know. And I'm always telling them, I know you can read. I know you're an adult. You like learned how to read. I don't need to check that you know how to read. I need to check that you can communicate something in French, even if completely imperfect, even if with a lot of mistake, because the goal is being understood. That's it. I don't care if you like didn't conjugate your verb the right way. If you shared something that was real and I understood you, what else do you want from this? Like, that's the goal. And people have a really hard time letting go of that. And like,
this is where the person comes in and they're like, but I want it perfect. So what do we do about that?
It's also very interesting how many adults like feel the judgment of other people.
Oh, yeah.
And we really try. That's a big part of how we train our teachers. We explain at the beginning of class what the environment will be like and like how things will go. Obviously, the goal is never to judge people and never to make them feel bad. And we're really trying our hardest. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. But
100%.
you still have those instincts that like come in people. So it's a long process.
Old habits die
Yeah,
hard, for sure.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's a process, right? And yeah, man, because I talk about that with a lot of my colleagues, how, you know, when we want to be perfect, it's also like it's you don't want to lose control, right? As a speaker, it's like,
Yes.
how can I be not perfect? No, hold on. I gotta be. Like, it's essential for me to survive. You can't just let go of that. It's crazy stuff. And, you know, it takes weeks upon weeks, months upon months to slowly but surely let go of that. And again, you cannot put a timeline on that. And this is where the ambience that you create for those very students comes in, you know, where you just start to breathe different, more loosely, and, you know, with all of your lungs, and you're like, okay, maybe there's an alternative to how I've been feeling, right? So it's
and
like,
the secret to that is wine.
There we are.
I'm sort of joking, obviously. You don't
no,
have
you're
to drink
not.
all the time,
I know,
but
you're serious.
We do serve wine, and it is BYOB, and like it's not just because wine is delicious, obviously it is, but it's also because it does help like people with like, you know, how does that, like lowering their like
all that tension, right? I mean, it won't
and like
just
their tension, and you can definitely always see a shift from beginning to end of class. People arrive, you know, you feel a little bit of tension. Even as a teacher, it's always like, there's a tiny bit of like stress when people like enter the class, sit, and at the end of the class, everyone is like laughing and so relaxed and like, and it's great to see it happen. And you see definitely a shift, not only from beginning of the class to end of the class, so like within the hour and a half, but also from like the beginning of a session, like a level and the end.
Oh, yeah.
That transformation is the most rewarding experience as a teacher. Somebody that came in super nervous, super self-conscious, like didn't dare to speak or to be themselves. And like by the end, 10 weeks after, so much more relaxed and laughing, and also better at French, because that's the part that is also the most frustrating as a teacher, is that it goes hand in hand with progressing. the more you let go, the
Yes.
more you become good at it, and the more it flows. And the more you're like tensed and stressed, the less your brain actually absorbs. So it's a whole process, but yeah.
Okay, that's part of the teaser, what
Yeah.
you just said.
Okay.
Definitely, definitely. Oh, right. Absolutely. Love that. 100% on board with that. And that's what I always tell all of the people I work with, that whenever it comes to voice work, to producing, your voice folds, your whatever it is that's that's got to do with articulatory production, it does not start in your mouth. Like, it starts at your feet, and then it goes into your knees, and then up towards your pelvis, and then into your stomach. And it's like the whole of your body. It's not like it's not brain with thumbs, it's like the whole of your being is involved. And if you do not relax into it, it's just going to work against you.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. If you do not relax, you're screwed. It's just like you got to work out a way to do so. And it's interesting how you need to learn to relax as an adult. It's crazy stuff, but that is the truth.
You need to learn to relax. And I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is, I have a lot of admiration for adults who decide to go back to learning a language, because like learning a language is not a small feat. It's, like I said, it's a lot of component. It's multidimensional. It's like reading, writing, understanding, speaking, feeling. It's like, and to tackle that as an adult is one of the bravest thing you can do, because you literally decide to put yourself in this vulnerable spot again. And nobody forces you, and you're still doing it. Obviously, learning a language in itself has a lot of like perks and rewards, like being able to travel, to talk to people, to like even like show off that you speak another language, and like
Party trick.
it's like
I did this
very
and
nice.
that. Yeah.
But the real reward is what happens inside you. I know it's a little cliche and a little cheesy,
But man,
like,
that is it. That is the truth, huh? Yeah.
how you confront your fears and how you grow from the experience, and how it opens your mind to like other ways of thinking, other ways of being. Yeah, it's you need to have courage to do it, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely will go into the teaser.
Yeah.
Right. The for sure bit. We got to do that one. Yeah, I love it. I love it for us both. Absolutely. I think it does change you as a person. It's like a whole huge metaphor on life,
Yes.
as such. So, yeah, everything that I do, like, I look at it through this prism of language learning, because that's something I do for a living. But it's like, I think anything is comparable to the process of acquiring language skills in a way, because there's so much to it. All right. Well, I wanted to talk to you about 6 p.m. in Paris a little bit, because it's a very special something. I like to think of it as, well, you guys called it that yourselves as you were presenting it. Was that a little over a year ago? Netflix for French learners. So, like, what is 6 p.m. in Paris, essentially, if you were to introduce it to people who've never heard of it?
I mean, it's true that I used to describe it like, it's kind of like Netflix meets Masterclass meets Peloton, but for French.
Oh, righty. There we go. Okay. Threefold. Love it.
It's a threefold, and it's much more than that. Hopefully it will become much more than that. So 6 p.m. in Paris is basically I would say, the digital counterpart to Coucou. Coucou is very human. It's very niche. It's physical. It's community. It's also not something that can be shared on a global stage. And that's what makes it special. And I didn't want to change that. 6 p.m. in Paris. I'm just going to go back to the beginning. It's a company I started now 3 years ago with Julien, the director of education at Coucou. It came from a place of responding to a need from our students, because like I said, learning a language takes a lot of different things. What we offer at Coucou is, I would say, the backbone. It's essential. Like the classes that you take are going to teach you literally how to speak, how to conjugate verbs and everything. And the community aspect is going to like make it an integral part of your life, which once again is very important because the secret to fluency is consistency. It's doing it over and over again. It's not reaching milestones. It's just doing it.
While sipping on your wine, preferably.
While sipping on your wine. But a big part of language learning, and I've learned that the hard way when I came to the United States, is being able to understand people when they speak and understand the culture that goes with it and all of that. And that can only come through immersion. And as much as I'm proud of what we're doing at Coucou, there is just a physical barrier and like an impossibility of offering that to people. Adults can't be in my school 20, 30 hours a week. I would love that, but like, it's just not realistic to think that like people would do that. And that's like literally the amount of exposure that you need to start understanding a language. The speaking part is what a lot of people obsess with and focus on, understandably so. Like it's when you think about languages, you first think about speaking it, but it's completely useless if you can speak and then somebody replies to you and like you have no idea what just said.
Right.
Like it's
what?
it's something. And I've obviously like from experience noticed that it was a struggle for people to find a way to develop that very important part of the equation, which is listening comprehension. And that when I say I learned that the hard way is because when I say I didn't speak English coming here, it's actually like not quite a true statement. I did learn English. I did like at
school and everything. But it was two different worlds, wasn't it? Exactly. For a lot of people, it's like I learned this, and then I come here, and it's
and
like
then I came to the United States, you know, like, and you could ask me like, oh, what's the conditional? And like I'd be, oh yeah, I know the conditional, like would, could, should. Like I had the formal knowledge or like the theory. And then
you can teach all of them, right? You'd be like, you know what? I can tell you all about it. Okay. You come up here. All right. So third conditional. You got the main clause and the subordinate,
and,
right?
Exactly. And like the irregular verbs and everything.
Yeah. But
I could not understand a single word of what people were saying. And it was quite a shock because naively, I thought, you know, after taking 7 years or whatever of like, basic English classes in school, let's be honest. Like I thought, okay, it's going to come quite, you know, fast or naturally.
Right.
And it took me like, I think, like I said, it's not like it ever ends. Maybe 6 months before I started feeling a little comfortable, like being at dinners or like in social environments. Before that, it was such an isolating experience. And I could speak, like if one-on-one, somebody was asking me a question, I could have a conversation. But the struggle of understanding what they were saying, and especially in a group setting, like forget about it. It was like, I had no idea what was going on. And so I really wanted to help my students not feel the way I felt and have a way to tackle that early on too, because that was a problem for me. It came as a last part of my learning because it's actually the one that takes the most effort and takes the longest time to develop. And
you're on your own. Like you said, you're isolated and you're like, okay, how am I supposed to deal with that on my own? Hello.
So we wanted to create a tool, a place where like people could practice immersion at home on their own time, and something that obviously followed the same philosophy that I had applied to Coucou. So the same like lifestyle, laid back, culture forward, kind of like also like aesthetic based, something that you actually want to watch, because people were faced with two options. One was watching great French content that was made for French people. You could watch a great Netflix show. Like there's a lot of great things, but it's overwhelming. It's very daunting. It's impossible to understand. And also with subtitles that are completely inaccurate. It's not very efficient. It's not bad. And it still, brings something to the experience because just like listening, not trying to understand, just listening to the sound is helpful. But it's hard to ask people to do that because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and yeah, it's hard. And so the other option they had was very academic, once again, boring recordings. Michel achète une baguette à la boulangerie. Something that is absolutely not compelling, not interesting, not sexy, not cool.
Not relevant, not relatable.
Yeah, I don't want to name brands, but like you have that method. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where like you listen to tapes and you just repeat what the person
said.
said.
No. That method sucks, everyone. That is my take on it. I'll be very direct.
And it's like the most absurd, boring things.
It's very non-scientific is what it is.
And yes, and topics that like are just boring.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to create something that people wanted to watch, that was enjoyable first, because once again, it ties back to the experience of it. And like, if it's a chore, if it's like, oh, I have to listen to my French tape because I need to work
about
on
Michel, avec la boulangerie.
Exactly, about Michel and like how he buys bread at the bakery. Like, I want to shoot myself. Like, and then that becomes a chore, and then you end up stopping the process. You're like, you know what?
Screw that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't like waste my time, and people stop. So once again, he was trying to find a way to keep people engaged with the language, but in a different way than we do with Coucou, and have that immersion aspect of it, but with the same principles, the same philosophy, and the same people. And
Yes.
I invested a lot in our teaching philosophy, our teaching method, and in our teachers themselves. Yeah. And I want the world to see how great they are. And I think that I call them star teachers because a lot of them, or most of them, have this aura and are interesting people. They're like artists or like they come from very different backgrounds, but I also wanted a place to like spotlight that and like share it with the world. And people deserve good instructors and people that you actually want to listen to and look at on the your screen. And so that's kind of what started it all in terms of concept. But obviously there was also a big part of me that wanted to challenge myself professionally. When you stop pushing and you stop evolving, you're not just stagnating, you're kind of like going backwards. And, I when I started 6 p.m. in Paris, it had been, right around like 10 years of Coucou. Yeah. And while Coucou will and has always been my absolute like baby, and I will always be super proud of it, I wanted to bring something else and to experience something else professionally. And I've always been very passionate with French cinema. And there's like a part of me that when I was younger wanted to be like a director or like do movies.
I knew it. I knew there was something.
And it was like, you know what? You only have one life. And I feel like not only it's something that would be helpful to a lot of people, but something that I also want to do because I feel like you're successful in life when you do things because you're passionate about them, because you want to do them. Over the years, people have asked me, oh, so like, why don't you do like kids? Like, why don't you teach French to kids? Or like, why don't you do other languages? And yes, it could be a business expansion, but it would be one that I don't do because I want to, but because I feel pressured to. And then don't do things well when you don't do them with your heart. And Not that I don't have children, but that's not the experience that I enjoy the most. I've taught children, and it's a completely different experience, and it's
Very.
rewarding in itself. It's just not like what I wanted to design. And especially for 6 p.m. in Paris, I mean, and that's also something that I often talk about, because I feel like when you try to do everything for everyone, you end up doing things that are like soulless, that have to appeal to the masses, and then you end up appealing to no one. And I say that because I think we are one of the only company, business, brand, whatever you want to call it, that only cater to adults intentionally. And when I say adults, it means that I really want to bring up adult topics in the conversation, both at Coucou and 6 p.m. Like on 6 p.m., we talk about real shit. Like we talk about sex, we talk about drugs, we talk about prostitution, we talk about addiction, we talk about grieving, we talk about all those things that when you want to really understand French and live a French life, your life in French won't be just going to the bakery and to like, do you know what I mean? Like
I really do. Identity, right? You want an identity that's 5D, that is not just about,
and if you look at like all the places to learn a language and all the methods out there, it's all very generic because they have to be suitable for teenagers and kids and adults.
Oh my God, that is very true.
And that's, you end up learning nothing. So I really wanted to like focus on a true, authentic version of what French culture and language is. And it's also the bad words. It's also the slang. It's also the like bad things that happen in life that you need to be able to, apprehend in your French life.
You're right. It does have, the name of it. It does have Paris in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, are you? And 6 p.m. But I was wondering, how come it's 6 p.m.? How come it's Paris? And if there was something about the concept of Paris that was of importance to the name and the project. So, is there a story to it? Is there anything there?
There is a story to it, and I have to say, that's my proudest pushback in my life, because when I came up with that name, I don't think a single person, or maybe Julien, but like was like seeing it right away. I wanted a name that was at the opposite of what every language app platform sounds like. If you look at it, it's funny. It's all Lingo Da, Duolingo, Lingo Pi, things that have no feeling, no identity. I don't feel anything when I hear those names. It's just basically giving me the information that it's about languages, and that's it. And that was the opposite of what I wanted. I wanted a name that when you hear it, you are transported. You feel a sense of belonging, and you feel a sense of place and time. And I wanted a name that feels more like poetic and almost like a movie title. Because life is a movie, and it's all of that. And 6 p.m. is really that time of the day that is a transition. You transition from work life to home life, or to hobbies, personal endeavors and hobbies after work. So around 6 p.m. It's also not like a coincidence that the most popular time for French classes is 6 p.m.
That's
because it's
true.
like people come after work and everything. And it's a time that I personally appreciate a lot, because it's a time when I come back home, I have a glass of wine, relax from my day, but I'm still kind of like, my mind is still open. It's not too late at night where like my brain is dead or too early in the morning. It's a time of conviviality. It's apéro time in France. Nice time with people, with snacks and wine. And like, what do people do often when they come back home? they turn on their TV and watch something. So I wanted to like recognize that time of the day. You come back, you want to do something nice for yourself, something educational, learning, but it's also relaxing and fun and for yourself. And so that's where the 6 p.m. comes from. And in Paris, I'm not from Paris, disclaimer.
Where are you
I say
from?
that because I get a lot of, like, France is only Paris. No, absolutely
Parisienne.
not. I'm not even a Parisian. And it's just, I wanted to be more specific than just France. And let's be honest, Paris is the capital of France. It is, I would imagine, and I'm not imagine, there are like stats on this, the first city that a person is going to visit when they visit France. It's actually the most visited city in the world.
Right.
And,
right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
And I just wanted something that felt kind of like a fantasy, dreaming, you're kind of living your reality or your routine. You're becoming that French self that you want to be. And you turn on your TV or your laptop or your phone, whatever you're using, and you're transported to Paris. It's like this idea of like a voyage, a trip to a different place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sold. Like, I mean, I was sold before. Like, I'm already paying you people, but I'll pay you more. Okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
And now I receive a lot of compliments on that name. I'm telling you, like, a lot of people I've told that when I was pitching it to investors, people were like, what is his name? Then what? No, that's not going to work. And now people are like coming to me and like, oh, I love the name. I think it's so great. It's different. It's like unique. I even had a guy who I briefly worked with. He was a tech guy consulting for us, our platform. Yeah. And he bluntly told me, this is never going to work. People are never going to find you on Google because if you say like 6 p.m. in Paris, it's going to give you like just a time in Paris. And it's actually the opposite because it's so unique that if you type 6 p.m. in Paris, there's only one result.
There's no lingo.
Exactly.
Right? Like, there's no one else there.
It up with something else. Like, yeah.
Well, look at you. All right. Man, I don't want to let you go. That's been a gorgeous conversation all around. So when people leave one of the spaces that you've created, right, whether it be online or offline, what do you hope that they carry with them, whether it be of linguistic nature or otherwise? So what is it that you want them to take with them?
I love that question because I had to reflect on it. And well, the answer is definitely not like vocabulary or like a new grammar rule. I can tell you that. No, I hope they live with, well, first of all, pride because they did something that was hard. They did something that was brave, faced their fears. And there's nothing more vulnerable than like doing that and showing up every week, coming, making time for your French lessons. No matter of like how you felt, how you did, you should feel proud. So I hope they carry pride with them when they live. Joy, because I hope that they had a nice moment of connection, of development, of curiosity. And I know that, and that was another one of your questions, and I also love that question, which was, what do teachers like take from the experience as well? And I know that I miss teaching deeply, like I don't have time to do it anymore, but it's an incredible feeling. Like people give you so much love and energy, so much joy as I left school at night after my class. Like I would have like a smile that goes like from ear to ear and like kind of like a lightness in my step. That's kind of a feeling that is hard to find anywhere else. And it's definitely reciprocal. And I see it in students too. I see the smile on their face when they leave and I see the joy. And, yes, I hope that they leave with that feeling and a little bit more themselves as kind of like, oh, I discovered a part of me, or I discovered something, or I was able to take space in my class and express myself. And the last one I would say is freedom.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Because freedom is a big part of my identity and of what I'm trying to infuse in everyone's experience. And once again, it's like it relates to everything else. I think that one of the reasons why what we're doing at Coucou and 6 p.m. in Paris works is because I gave myself permission first to create something that did not follow the rules, that did not follow the
like the mold of
the mold
sorts.
of like
Right.
what a school should be like, what it should feel like, what a teacher should be like. That was very intentional, that we don't consider our teachers like lecturers, but we put them at the same level of the students, and the teachers learn from the experience as much as the students. It should be the experience that people have. It should be like an exchange of knowledge, of energy, of vulnerabilities, and all of that. I say that because, yes, obviously that's, I think what stands out with Coucou is how unschool-like it is. And it's partly because I didn't go to college. I did not have like a professional, like formal training. I taught myself how to do this, and I'm neurodivergent. So it's like a combination of things that made me need a place that wasn't conventional. I want people to feel and live Coucou with that same feeling of freedom, of, oh, it doesn't have to be that way. I don't have to like be perfect, follow the path and follow the rules and follow everything. And like, I can be my own person and do things differently, and it works too. And yeah, that's a big one for me.
Yeah. I know the feeling. I've left that very place with that very feeling.
Yeah.
So, oh. Okay. Well, that was lovely. Well, I do got a teeny lightning round for you. It's a bit more lighthearted, but it's fun. It's fun. It's
Go ahead.
So for instance, coffee before class or wine after class, or both.
It's like Sophie's choice.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Choose between my children. Literally drink both every day. Disclaimer: I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. I drink coffee every morning and I drink wine almost every night.
Well, you're French.
But
It's
French
okay.
people, for us, wine is not alcohol. It's like water. It's like
There we are. All right.
So, but if I had to choose one, I think I would choose wine.
Okay. Well, can you think of like just off the top of your head, a French word that feels untranslatable to you? Just, well, I mean, there's got to be a lot, but just one word for now.
A French word that feels untranslatable. It's funny because I have more like the opposite.
Yeah. That's all right. We can do that. We can do that.
It's actually like a funny thing, but sorry, it's I hope I can say that here, but like
Sure.
how you can say like what the fuck in English.
Oh yes, please say that. I swear a lot on my channel.
There's no equivalent in French. Like there's like obviously you can say oh mon Dieu, oh mais c'est pas vrai, or something like that.
You're right.
And like one time a student of mine basically tried to say it in French and said qu'est-ce que fuck.
Qu'est-ce que fuck? I love it.
It was like literally like a decade ago, and it became part of the vernacular of my vocabulary because I love it, because sometimes I need to express that in French and there is no equivalent. And so now I've been saying it for years. I'm like, qu'est-ce que fuck? And like, I love, and that's also like part of the philosophy, like language is not something that needs to be perfect, that even needs to make perfect sense.
It doesn't have to be pure.
To be something that you like, make your own. And if you want to like mix things together because like there's one thing that works in French, one thing that works in English, and you want to transform them into your own thing.
Yeah.
That's an expression of yourself. And that's what I love.
I've heard one person say that she'll sometimes say to her French husband, "What are you doing?" So it's like quoi and
Quoi
what?
and what?
What are you doing? It's just like, it just, came out one day.
Kind of the same, like sometimes like there are things that, and I'm sure you can like relate to that experience, but like,
Yeah.
I've stopped being embarrassed about my franglais. I speak a weird version of both all day long because obviously we're a lot of French
Code
people
switching
here,
all day long, right?
and we live in an English environment, and there's a lot of English speakers. So like it becomes this like weird like morphing of two languages.
100%.
And
Yeah,
for a long
love it.
time, I was like, oh no, I'm a French teacher. I can speak like that. Obviously, when I'm teaching and like if I don't want, I can turn it off or on. But naturally, I will combine the two together, and I feel like it's me. I'm half and half. Like I've lived all my adult life in New York City, but I'm French, and I have a lot of like French identity. So I'm part French, part American, and my language is a expression of who I am every day.
If anything, I'll advocate
Yes.
for it. You know, 'cause
Yeah.
I've never been no, I used to be a prescriptivist, and I think that's something you are when you just, when you fresh out of college or fresh out of school, where you were under so much pressure because your teachers would pressure you. But no, I've been a descriptivist, the kind of person who's all like, no, you do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
The more fun we have with it, the better. The more original it is, the more fun we're having. It goes both ways. And I know I love code switching.
Yeah.
I did a whole episode on code switching. It's just like, it's, and I love it when it's not like French full stop, Russian full stop, English full stop. I love it when it's like a sentence and then right in the middle you throw something in, and just like with qu'est-ce que fuck, I think that is like the best of it. It's the coolest thing ever.
That's a luxury you have speaking many languages. You take the best of each one and like make a mega version of it, and it's amazing.
And whoever's like not cool with it, I think they're just jealous. I don't know. Seriously, gotta be that. Yeah, no, I tell you. So then a couple more questions that go this or that. Subtitles on or subtitles off?
On.
Okay, categorical.
100%. So obviously I speak for myself. I'm a visual learner. Like I said, I've been here 18 years. I still watch English TV with subtitles.
Oh, I love subtitles. Right. Yeah.
First of all, I feel like it rested my brain, and like when I'm tired at night, and like, because it's still like a focus to like listen to different accents and everything. And it's a great way to learn how to spell things. Like,
by the way, y'all, it's a weird spelling system. Let's not forget.
Yes, and especially, if you're talking about French, I always tell people like, don't even like, why would you even like attempt to watch something without subtitles? Subtitles are great for you because you'll see the connection between what you hear and what you see. And that's one of the greatest difficulty about learning French. If you don't see it spelled and written, you will never make that connection in your brain between like what you hear and what you see. So very important. I love subtitles.
Alrighty, that makes sense. Okay. A word that you love just for how it feels in the mouth.
In French, I love the word crépuscule.
Okay, because it's so crispy.
I love R sounds.
Okay.
And I love the harsh sounds, I don't know why. Where I struggle in English is where like there's no consonants and it's all vowels, and it feels very like very hard to hold on to. Like
right. Like it's not tangible, sort of. It's like, how do I capture that?
Like it feels like I have anchoring. I like consonants, and I like to feel them in my mouth. It's a weird thing to say, but like, so I like crépuscule. Yeah.
Love it. All right. Okay. If your voice was a drink, what would it be?
A drink?
Yeah.
If my
Cocktail.
voice was a drink. God, I never thought about that. Telling you this. I feel like maybe it would be a chocolat chaud,
All right. So a hot drink.
a hot
Mhm.
chocolate.
I love that. All
You know?
righty. And a couple sentences for you to finish. Fluency isn't about accuracy. It's about what?
It's about connection.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew
Yeah.
it. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, so good. You pass. All right. Teaching a language means teaching people how to, well, connect probably.
Yeah,
But is there anything
and
else?
think.
Think. Love that. All right. All right. Philosophical, existential. I
Yeah,
love it.
but
All
it
right.
really is what it is because once again, language is an expression of how people think, teaching people how to think differently. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Speaking a new language feels like
Acting
mhm.
sometimes.
Learning. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was it. That was it. All right. Learning a language taught me how to.
Hmm. Well, it's a little redundant, but how to understand other people and be more of an empath,
Very
and
true.
see where people come from. Definitely.
Yeah. And I really think that
Yeah.
it's true for us both. Learning a language teaches you
Mm-hmm.
how to teach a language,
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Really does. So final one.
Mm-hmm.
Movies teach us that communication is really about what?
Feelings.
Okay, I love it. This was Léa Perret. That's how you say it, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying it right? Léa
Perret.
Perret. Perret. De Coucou. Okay. I am a fan. And it
Thank
was
you,
a
Gary.
pleasure, threefold. And thanks so much for coming on. It was kind of profound, like
Oh, thank you
honestly.
for having me. That's so great. And not to add on this all discussion, but I love that we met at Coucou, and that's exactly what this is about. This is
Right?
about lasting connection that
Yeah.
opens up your world. And I love that I continue to have relationships with so many of my students outside of the Coucou experience. It's
I feel the same
like
way.
a richer life. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. So
Good. Me neither.
good. Well, all right, guys, that was Beyond the Accent with Carrie and Leah. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I just did. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.